Lynne and Jim Weber, Texas Master Naturalists and National Wildlife Federation habitat stewards, are always on patrol to spy native and migratory wildlife at home or around town. In their garden, they look beyond spring romance with plants that nourish or harbor wildlife even in winter. Their book, Nature Watch Austin, tracks plant and wildlife activity in a monthly diary. Environmental awareness extends to their greenbelt home.
But the yard, we focused totally on native plants and no turf grass so that we would have no ongoing maintenance, and so that we would need a little less water, fertilizer, pesticides. We get a lot more wildlife in the yard as a result, a lot of birds, butterflies, lizards, other insects, and little animals visit our yard, and we love having the opportunity to see them.
That's more important to them than a desert of lawn.
I think there's two reasons. I think one is it gives me a sense of place. The more I know about where I am, the more I feel at home there. And I think number two, it's a sense of wonder. And in its simplest terms, it makes me feel like a child again. To be able to discover something new, to see something I haven't seen before, or to notice something and really learn something more detailed about it. So it's like those carefree times when you were a child and you'd romp off into the woods or into a meadow or a field, and everything was new. And I feel that way again here. When you have the plants, when you restore the ecosystem, when you have the diversity, you bring so much more to your yard, and there's so much more for you to discover.
It all started with their interest in birds.
We had focused initially mostly on birds, and we had started getting interested in nature a few decades ago, more on birds. But as we saw a lot more, while you're out looking around, you see other things than birds. We saw butterflies, and then you start noticing plants and the different associations between butterflies and plants, whether it's for host plants or nectar sources. And pretty soon then you start seeing other insects and dragonflies, and you find lizards in the yard as well.
Their backyard is huge. Bordering the Balcones Canyonlands, they're restoring the 8-acre parcel's native plants and adding new ones.
It's been really an awesome thing for us. It's a good little canyon of diverse habitat. There's a perennial stream in there, and a good variety of native plants in there as well, and golden cheek warblers on that piece. We've gone through and removed many non-native plants out of there, mostly ligustrum, but there's a chinaberry and a few other things that we've taken out of there. But we've spent many hours ridding it of non-native plants.
Their front yard is compact, but includes everything a diverse wildlife audience appreciates.
In order to create a good wildscape, you have to have food, you have to have water, you have to have cover, and you have to have places to raise young. And I think the hardest of all those things, especially in Texas, is the water piece. So we knew that we wanted moving water. Moving water will attract a lot of wildlife just from the sound. And we didn't have that naturally in our property, not many properties do, so we brought in a landscaper who specialized in water features. And that was Russell Womack, Capital Landscaping.
We put it in the front yard mainly because we have kind of a difficult yard from a slope point of view, and it ended up being just a good use of the natural slope of the front yard to put one in that location. There were some big stones there already that could be featured around the water, and it's really nice to be able to see it while we're sitting in the study, to be able to have the view out the front window that's the water. And we have a lot of birds and small animals that come to get a drink or take a bath during the day.
That's another reason to diversify for every season. An ongoing cycle of flowers, berries, and seeds means a wider audience, since every creature has its favorite diet. The Webers aren't the first to prune when winter changes the scenery.
Well, the birds will appreciate the seeds out of the flower heads as they dry up. We like the look of the dried flowers as well as the new ones. And so we won't cut those back. And it's also good shelter for them. The bushes of the shrubby plants being left up gives them a place to hide as they're coming in to get a drink of water.
Everybody loves flowers, everybody loves things blooming, everybody loves spring. But you know, you find that the other seasons have beauty too. And you can learn a lot about the life cycle of plants, of insects, of other animals. And you see that more when the seasons change and when your garden changes. We used to be so much more connected to those natural cycles, and now that we live in air-conditioned and heated spaces, we miss out on that. And a changing garden brings that attention back in my life, and I really enjoy it.
Jim's attention led to photography to record their observations and to learn more about them.
Unless you had caught it and looked at it under in hand, basically, you're really not going to see the detail you can get in a picture. And it only takes a second, and you've gotten an image that you can go study for hours with 3 or 4 field guides, and try to make sure you can tell exactly which one it is. And it's a good record in case it's something rare. Someone may want to know that where and when you saw this thing.
Their records inspired the book that started with a neighborhood newsletter to promote recognition and understanding of our fellow inhabitants.
Our goal was that we wanted the people that lived in the neighborhood to appreciate some of what was going on in the Balcones Canyonland Preserve property that surrounds the neighborhood. So the idea of the newsletters was to pick a topic of something that might be happening in the neighborhood around that time of year. We wanted the people to appreciate what was around them and not be so focused on, gee, I heard a coyote, or where'd my, a deer eating my flowers, or the other kind of negative aspects to living next to a large preserve system. We run in the morning very early, Lynne and I, and we love when we hear a coyote or an owl in the morning while we're out running. It's just makes for a really good day.
Although they've given their upfront garden structural design and tend it with timely maintenance, they allow it to be an active participant.
Well, maybe that's just a reaction to most of our lives being so ordered that maybe this is kind of a response to that. Subconsciously, we've let this be more free-form and natural, and it's sort of evolved. Every year it's a little bit different. Some things do well. We decide we want to add or change things year to year. So it's been sort of a work in progress, and some of it is naturalized in its own way, and we just sort of let it kind of go in the direction it wants to go.
And I think it, again, back gives you a sense of place, a sense of what works and what doesn't, and what the cycles are. And that's very enjoyable, very relaxing. It's a form of meditation in a way.